What's going on, PokeMoshPit? ZabuzaoftheWater here, bringing you a battle with my hyper-competitive Little Cup team. Look at my opponent's team. He's got a Whalmer, an Eevee, a Vullaby, a Pawniard, Execute, and the bane of my existence, Timber. Yeah, for those of you who've seen my channel before, you all know, I hate this thing. But let's get to the analysis. Whalmer, I've seen two sets for Whalmer so far. They can usually be bulky with pressure and stall. You know, rest, sleep talk, toxic, stuff like that. Or they can be water spout with choice scarf, which seems to be the more popular option. Eevee, I haven't run across too many Eevees. The ones I have seen are adaptability with quick attack and return, and their choice banded, which I think is a fantastic set. I mean, just the power. Vullaby, which is usually physically or especially defensive. I haven't seen too many offensive ones. Pawniard, I've seen only offensive variants, but I myself have made a defensive variant with Stealth Rock, so that is a possibility I need to look out for. Execute is known stall. The only way to kill this thing is with U-turn or substitute or something, so I have to leave the job to either Houndour, Murkrow, or Mienfoo. I know Mienfoo seems like a weird choice, but it outspeeds and, you know, U-turn is quad effective. And finally, Timber. You know, screw it, Timber doesn't get an analysis. But enough with my irrational hate for Timber, let's get to the battle. So today, my battle is against Painsama, who I met on the Smogon Wi-Fi Battle Finder. I see the name is Kelly, and they kind of talked with, like, I guess a female demeanor, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to refer to her as a she throughout the battle. She's going to start off with the Whalmers, I start off with Rowdy, go for the Fake Out, kind of thinking that maybe it's the Water Spout set. However, she goes for the Hydro Pump, which is going to do massive damage, which is going to force me to U-turn out. I knock off the Eviolite, which confirms that it's maybe offensive, bulky offensive, I'm not sure. So she goes for an Ice Beam, gets a crit on my Slowpoke, my Babe Ruth, which doesn't do anything, and I'm going to go for the Zen Headbutt just to knock it out, because I know I can take an HP Grass, which she does go for. So she's going to send out her Execute, and I'm going to get scared out and go into my Balto, as she actually shows she has the Trick Room, which is very, very bad, considering that Timber is still out and alive. So I'm going to switch from my Balto, my Houndour, well, after this turn. She's going to switch into Volby, predicting my Dark Pulse, I guess, or Crunch. And now, I'm going to switch into my Money my Monar, there we go, as she just sets up a Nasty Plot. I'm going to go for the Stealth Rock since the Trick Room is working for me, as she's going to go for another Nasty Plot, and I'm starting to get a little bit of a flashback here to my RU battle with Arsena. So now she's going to go for the Dark Pulse, which is going to do massive damage as I get a Toxic off. And I'm going to go for the Protect to stall out a turn of Toxic. However, she goes for the Roost, predicting that. So I am against a great opponent, guys. So next turn, I'm going to be that guy and go for the Double Protect, but I don't get it. She's going to go for the Dark Pulse and knock out my Monar, which means I don't get my Bronzor anymore. So I'm going to go into my Rowdy, go for the Fake Out just to prolong the Toxic one turn, because I think that after one more turn of Toxic, I can go for a High Jump Kick and safely knock it out. However, that is not the case. She survives on like 2 HP. She knocks out my Rowdy, my Mienfoo, which means, thankfully, she's going to go down to the Toxic, but now I don't have my Mienfoo, which is really a core to any hyper-offensive Little Cup team, or hyper-competitive in my case. So she sends out Eevee as I send out my Balto. Fearing the adaptability quick attack, I'm going to switch to my Babe Ruth, as she shows me she's actually a Curse set, which is really interesting, because I was wondering why the return did so little damage. I thought she did something with her happiness, but it turns out it's just low because her attack is low, so she's building up with her Curse. And the returns are doing a little bit more and more, so I'm going to go for the T-Wave, so that way I can get off my Paraflinch strategy. So far, it's not really working. It's doing quite a lot of damage. I go for the Slack Off, get my HP back up as she gets paralyzed, and I'm going to go for the Zen Headbutt, wow, hoping for the flinch, but I get a crit, so I'm a little annoyed with that crit, but, you know, I was getting Paraflinch, so I guess it kind of evens out. But she's going to go into her Execute, which is going to scare out my Slowpoke, going to go into my Wicked Witch of the West, and I'm going to go, as she goes for a Trick Room again, so I'm going to go for the Substitute and try and stall out this Trick Room as long as I can. She sends up Pawniard, goes for the Swords Dance, and I figure, you know, well, as long as I've got the sub, I can just sub up and attack with Brave Bird. So I know it's not going to do a lot, but it's going to do quite a bit, because Pawniards don't have the best of defense, even with their resistance. So I go for another Brave Bird. I get a crit. Now this crit annoyed me, because we were having a really good battle, then all of a sudden her major threat just got completely destroyed. So I'm going to go for, she brings in her Timber, which I'm like, okay, must die, destroy, destroy, don't care what happens, destroy it. I go for the Brave Bird, not caring if my Wicked Witch of the West survives, not going to go for the Roost, I am just going to kill it. So she sends out her Execute, her last Pokemon, as I go into my Balto, knock out Execute, and end the battle. So sorry for the hacks, Kelly, but you know, that's kind of part of the game. Like that video? Then why don't you swing by my channel and see what I have to offer. Or you can check out some more content offered by PokeMoshPit or its sister channel PokeMoshPit Beta.